My name is Jonathan, and I'd like to share my vision with you. I've been living in Costa Rica for 5 weeks now, and just before coming here I attended a training where during an Osho meditation we held each other's hands, we looked each other in the eyes, and we spoke the words, "I promise to take care of this sacred earth." And coming here to Costa Rica, I realized that to me it was much more than just a workshop exercise. It was an initiation, it was a ritual, and seeing this beautiful nature here and being welcomed so warmly, so graciously by Pachamama, I felt reminded of that promise, and I felt inspired to live up to it more fully and to embody it. I feel the call to be serving this nature here. I feel the call to serve, to protect this landscape, to really be a steward for the environment and the animals, the plants, the spirits that are so present here. And so I've been opening myself up to the vision that wanted to come through, to deepen my purpose and to gain a deeper understanding of why it is that I had to come to Costa Rica, which was much more than just a rational choice. And it is very much connected to what I see happening in Europe right now. I see that the restrictions are being enforced and extended. The lockdown is being extended over and over again, and I don't see it loosening up anytime soon. Quite the opposite. I see that the culture of fear, of control, of centralized power is continuing in that direction, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. And the more this continues, I think more and more people are waking up to this and seriously considering alternatives. Some of those might choose to create their own parallel societies, create communities and islands of sanity in Europe, which is amazing, but others will also look for other options, for example coming to Costa Rica and other places where the restrictions are not as massive as they are in Germany right now. With this comes a risk. The countries, and especially also Costa Rica, but also Mexico and other places, are very much impacted by tourism and especially nature. And so a lot of people put a lot of strain on these countries, especially if it's done in a very capitalistic, patriarchal way of building new hotels in nature places and things like that. So one big question for me is, how can this movement, how can this process be done in a mindful and regenerative way? Because what I see is honestly an exodus that is about to happen. An exodus from Europe and other countries to places that are still more accessible and where our primary needs are still possible to be met. Our primary needs for connection, our primary needs for community, for physical contact, for shared meals, for grieving together, for celebrating together, all these things that are illegal in Germany right now, that are systematically eradicated. And so in order to find alternatives, my desire is to do so in a sustainable way that doesn't put additional strain on nature, but that is integrated with this land and that can create more resilience instead of less, that can regenerate the land instead of drain the resources. And so what I see necessary, and this came to me during a cacao ceremony where it was pouring cats and dogs, the image was to build an ark, like Noah's Ark, a boat where people can actually find refuge, but not in a literal sense, but more a place that we have here that people can inhabit, where we can build community in a way that is integrated with nature. The other meaning of ark is also a bridge from an old society to a new society, from an old earth to a new earth, to a new system that we have the possibility of creating here. And so, building on that image of the ark, what I envision is to create a possibility, an offer, a proposal for people who are actually considering choosing a different life path than staying in lockdown Europe, and looking for an alternative, and make this alternative so attractive that it will be difficult to say no. So for those who already are in the process of making the decision, two things come in the way. One is, where do I live? So how can I find a place that is a safe home? And the other question is, how can I finance that? The economic model, the economic sustainability of that. The first question is being answered by a lot of projects already. There are a lot of eco-village communities popping up here that also have very wholesome approaches of integrating it with nature, of being sustainable or even regenerative, which is amazing, and we need a lot more of that. The other aspect that I see missing is the economical model. How can we make it economically feasible so people can actually generate an income from places outside of Germany without putting a strain on the local economy? It's very difficult to find a job here locally. So one aspect that I want to invest my energy in is creating a community, a place where we have beautiful homes for people who are actually willing to make that step that we can offer. The other aspect is to create an economic platform, an ecosystem actually, where people can contribute with their skills, with their capacities, with their knowledge, with their genius. Because what I also see in Europe or worldwide happening actually is that capitalism is pushing towards a direction where people are less and less needed to create goods and services. Everything is moving towards artificial intelligence, robotization, automatization, and virtualization. And so less and less people are actually required in our market systems to produce and create services and goods. One of the biggest crimes of capitalism is to give people the feeling that they're not needed, and this is exactly what is happening. The biggest power of the system, as Marshall Rosenberg put it, is to give us the belief that as we are, we're not good enough. And I don't believe that. I believe everyone has a skill, everyone has a genius, everyone has a gift to share, and everyone's contribution is necessary. So I want to create a society, I want to create a culture where we remind ourselves, where we remind each other of the genius within us. And we won't accept the mediocrity of one another while seeing each other in the highest regard and seeing each other with our talents, with our gifts, with our contributions. And then to hone these skills, to put them so much on stage and actually create a platform where these skills can be not only shared and where we can contribute with them, but where they can also create a financial return, and we create a business ecosystem where people can benefit financially also from sharing their skills. So what I envision is a marketplace that is owned by everyone who's either producing or consuming in that marketplace ecosystem. Hans-Peter Dürr said, in biological system, there are no parts, there are only participants. And we need to model nature if we want to be regenerative. So what I envision with this marketplace is that the marketplace is owned by everyone who participates in the marketplace, and the more you participate, the more you own. It is a very decentralized ownership structure mediated through blockchain technology. It'll be a decentralized autonomous organization with no central leadership, with no central governance, but facilitated through smart contracts. So whenever you offer, let's say, an online course, you will get a financial return, which is in the system solved with the technology of blockchain to have the transaction be completed. And with every interaction, with every transaction, a small part is distributed to your account that shows that you have engaged in the system, and therefore your participation, your wealth in the system increases. But also with every purchase that you make, you also receive a small amount of the value of the marketplace, and so you have an incentive to spend more time on the marketplace, consume or produce on the marketplace, and so strengthen the whole system. There's a lot more theory behind it, and I myself am not a blockchain or even crypto expert, but the whole idea is that it is owned by everyone, and that technology now enables us to have sort of a cooperative 2.0, cooperative ownership structures where we are prosumers and co-owners, which is the biggest difference to marketplaces like Amazon or Airbnb. In those marketplaces, ownership is centralized, governance is centralized to one small group of people. With this idea, it is distributed, it is decentralized, and everyone who actually creates value is part of the wealth generation and is part of the ownership structure. And another element that is essential to this is that a small fee will always go to a specific fund that will then be used to invest into regenerative projects, to regenerate nature, or to start new businesses from this. So as I mentioned, the first element will be the learning, training, skills share, knowledge exchange part with online courses and things like that that we can sell online as digital products, but it will then extend. And this is where this local ecosystem comes in, because there are so many eco-villages, permaculture farms just in this area here already. And if we realize as those community leaders that we have a larger purpose, that there's something that we need to align with, align our forces, align our energy with, to create a sustainable development that is actually scalable and that creates the infrastructure for a lot more people while being integrated in nature, then we can gather around that shared purpose and use this marketplace not only for digital products, but also for goods and services that we exchange locally. So this ecosystem will be infused with a set of values that we implement in a cryptocurrency, and every time we use that cryptocurrency to make exchange amongst each other, we will strengthen the network, we will strengthen the value of this currency, and in that way create a parallel society in a way partly independent from the existing structures, from the current market systems. So with this shared vision, with this shared purpose of local eco-villages, of communities, we can then at the same time scale globally and connect other places, connect other like-minded communities, connect other like-minded projects, and have the possibility actually to create the infrastructure for a whole new society that can potentially even scale globally. The first step in order to do this is to find a committed group of people who are actually willing to have a commitment to live together, to live community, and I see about 10 to 20 people sharing a physical space together to create this first prototype of the arc, of this place where we come together in order to inquire into, in order to also create the culture that will be the magnet for other people to resonate with it. For me, the most crucial part in community building, and I've been working with communities for the last 15 years with the Global Eco-Village Network, with businesses, with local communities, all kinds of different communities. The most important thing to me is really to have the individual maturity, to have the processes and practices together to create the culture that is possible or that is needed in order to bounce back when things get difficult, and in a way to have an integral framework that enables a community to be really mature and not get caught in our own problems. In order for that, we need a higher intention that is more important than our personal ego, than our personal issues that we have and might project on others. So it needs a high level of maturity of this first group of people coming together, and a high commitment of risking a venture that is potentially very successful and potentially very important for what is about to happen in the world, but is also without any guarantee for success. I know this was a lot of information, and there's lots more that I'll try to write down on a piece of paper in order to make it more accessible and in order to get a more complete picture. But I hope you get my enthusiasm. I hope you get the possibility that is ahead of us. You get the potential of what we can create here. And I'm very curious how this lands with you, and I'm very excited to receive your resonance to this. Have a beautiful, magical day, sending you lots of love and blessings from Costa Rica. All the best to you. It's great to have you with us on this journey.